In school, I was one of those kids that just had a fast metabolism. Sorry, everybody who didn't. But I didn't worry about eating very healthy or exercising. I mean, I did go outside and play things with my friends, which I did so quite extensively. As a younger kid, I would go outside and play for hours because I had undiagnosed ADHD. So I would go outside for hours making up stories and acting them out. Besides that, however, I was really just a chicken finger and fries gamer. My dad, on the other hand, was not. He may not have eaten the healthiest, but he was a lay bodybuilder. His arms flexed were at least as thick as my head. And I've always been a whole lot like my dad in personality, so it was not a stretch for me. As soon as I was able to, age-wise, go to the YMCA and lift some weights with him, we were down to lift weights 3 times a week, and it was so much fun. That was really the start of my exercise journey. Back then, I did the machines, and nowadays I don't recommend that to people because it doesn't work the small tendons in between your major muscles. It's still not a bad exercise, though. It's just not the absolute best. I would suggest free weights, but any exercise you do is better than nothing. And while I was not strong at all at the time, I think it helped me begin to build some muscle. I think it also helped with my undiagnosed ADHD. I didn't realize it at the time, but exercise was like a pseudo treatment for it because I could always think more clearly after I exercised and could process things better while I exercised. Like, lifting weights really gave me time to think and to work through things. I still remember one time working out with my dad at the Y. I started praying to the Lord, and the Lord really convicted me of my World of Warcraft playing. Don't get me wrong, there's absolutely nothing wrong with World of Warcraft. It's super cool, but for me, it was too cool. I wasn't studying the Bible, I wasn't reading or writing, or really doing much else besides playing World of Warcraft and apparently working out. So that's a monumental moment to me when I surrendered to the Lord in that way. And while I probably could play a game like that today that doesn't end, back then I just didn't have that self-control. And working out and processing through that and speaking to the Lord helped me realize that. So lifting weights was extremely healthy for me, not just physically, but also mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Another thing my dad and I did a lot of at the YMCA was the cardio machines. So I still have this memory of us doing the gliders and me thinking like, I'm doing so great. I'm amazing. And I look over and my dad is like way ahead of me in miles and everything. And I'm like, somehow at 41 years old, this man beat me when I'm 16. And it was inspiration for me to do better. My dad is really an inspiration for me. Someone else who was also a big inspiration in my healthy eating was my Nana. So healthy eating came for me not too long after I started lifting weights. My Nana had some major health problems, and it made me realize that someone who was pretty healthy looking, she'd always had a pretty fast metabolism, and someone who always had energy, she was a go-getter, could still be unhealthy inside from what she ate. So I began to branch out from my standard chicken fingers and fries and eat more vegetables. Initially just taking like raw broccoli and carrots and cauliflower and massive amounts of ranch until I learned to like them. And then I would steadily use less and less dressing until I actually had a healthy amount of dressing to vegetable ratio. And while I didn't eat perfectly, this was my start into healthy eating. And I think my Nana would be proud of that. If you eat those, you grow a watermelon inside, or so I've heard. Something worthy of note here is that my dad and I did this healthy eating together. It's important for people to have support from friends, family, your church, a support group, or a personal trainer to help you through these things and to do it together so you don't feel like you're alone when you make mistakes or overeat or don't work out for a while. You guys can encourage each other to keep going. And it helped that my dad was able to call me on things, like point out to me my mistakes in a loving way so that I didn't keep making the same mistakes again. Since you're not just watching this video because you love me so much and you want to know my family history, here's some stuff that we did wrong that you guys can learn from. So I guess it was a fad back then to have fat-free things. We did too much of the fat-free. We did too much dairy, honestly, like we didn't do enough vegetables and fruits and lean meats type thing. But still, we were eating healthier than we were before. So if you are eating healthier than you were before, congratulate yourself. Note the areas that you find challenging and you still need to work on, but don't feel bad about those areas. Look at what you've already accomplished. See, I went from eating chicken fingers and fries to eating healthier and healthier. And so just try cooking foods in different ways. Try cooking vegetables in different ways, maybe from different cultures. Like my husband and I love Asian foods, Latino foods, like lots of stuff. So just do some experimenting and see if you can find some ways to cook things that are healthy in a way that you like. So I continued the lifting weights and all of that until I got married and had a part-time job, which turned into a full-time job. And I suddenly didn't have a lot of time for that. So I wanted to do something. So I started doing yoga 3 times a week. And I still remember people telling me that that was not enough, that if you're not sweating, you're not working out and all of these things. But honestly, that is whether they're doing it intentionally or unintentionally. That's really from gatekeepers that maybe they're hardcore workout people, or they have been in a situation where they were unhealthy and got really healthy and they don't want to see people unhealthy. They want to help people. But whatever their motivation, they're being a little bit gatekeepers, right? Because the reality is any movement that you do is burning calories. Any healthy movements like yoga, if you're doing them correctly, are going to be building muscle and different things that are very good for you. So you have to start somewhere. So it's okay to start small and build on that. And you'll see how the flexibility and the core strength that I got from doing this yoga only 3 times a week has helped me get to where I am today. So start small and build on it. This brings me to the time that I had babies that didn't sleep. So I would put on Korean pop music and dance for as long as I could before they would cry. Just anything to get a little bit of exercise in, because a little bit is better than none. So this brings me to my next point. Simply get moving. This desperation that I had to just move at all made me realize how much I love to work out. So into COVID, when we had extra time, and then after COVID, I have just done a wider and wider variety of exercises because I just realized I love to get stronger. I love to work on my cardio. I love it all. So I began to do a wider and wider variety, more like quantity, devote more time to it. I began to think that if swimmers eventually blow out a shoulder and runners eventually have to have a knee replacement, what if instead of focusing on one exercise, I do a variety and I am overall strong and healthy, but I haven't overworked different parts of my body? So this is also when I really developed my motto of taking things slow rather than straining every time. So I think it's important to work up to things, just add it bit by bit when something gets easy, add more weight or more time or more distance, and just remember to just relax and have fun with it. There's no reason to go so hard that you tear something and then you'll have set yourself farther back than you were before. Like, we're doing all of this to be healthier and make our bodies feel good. So let's be healthy in the way that we exercise. Slow and steady, guys. Slow and steady. For example, when I first started running during COVID, I started running just 5 minutes every few days. Again, people said that's not really helping anything. Like, what are you really doing? And I just ignored it. And I continued doing that until 5 minutes became easy. And then I added another 5 minutes. And you get the picture. Every time it got easier, I would add another 5 minutes until I got up into the higher time ranges and I began doing it by miles. If you're in another country, maybe kilometers, but I'm up to 2.5 miles now, a couple of times a week. And that's not a difficult thing for me to do. Now, if I had just done that from the get-go and just said, I'm going to do 2 miles every day from like the couch, that would not have worked at all. And I probably would have gotten shin splints and all sorts of other health issues. But as it is, I have a strong heart. I have good endurance with cardio because I took the time and I had the patience to just add it bit by bit. And so, I haven't gotten to the point where 2.5 miles is easy yet, so I haven't added more, but that's my motto. And I would love for you guys to try that out and let me know how it goes for you, just for a little bit. So from the time I started really working out for myself and taking it seriously, it took me about 10 years until I was all around fit. Now, 14 years in total later, I'm fitter than most people my age, and I love it. It was worth the slow journey that gave me a more stable and healthier physique. And I think if you take this slow journey, you will say the same thing. So by the time I got invited to help with the children's worship ministry at church, which involves a lot of dancing, they call it motions, but it's totally dancing. I was at this really great level of health to where I can do all these difficult moves that the kids do over and over, and it doesn't strain anything in my body. It doesn't hurt me. I'm not huffing and puffing when I'm done. I'm just enjoying myself and enjoying teaching the kids how to worship the Lord. In conclusion, when I first started working out, I wasn't strong or flexible, but little by little, caring for my muscles, not overstretching, not overlifting, it really allows your body to keep up and you don't mentally, emotionally burn yourself out. When I first started, I was not even able to touch my toes, and I've been able to touch my toes for years now, something I was not able to do at the beginning. And now I'm actually strong. Like when I first started this journey, I was just the stereotypical small girl, thin girl who's weak. And everyone was stronger than me. But now I'm stronger than a lot of people around me. And definitely my endurance lasts longer when I'm doing volunteer work or even just bringing groceries in or picking up children, etc. And I guarantee you that my body feels better than other people my age. So if you're already part of the way down the road on your exercise journey, or if you're just thinking about starting, go ahead and start today. Take one step, just one. Maybe it's in your eating, whether that's eating pizza once a week instead of every day, or maybe you're just adding more vegetables to your meals, or learning to eat fish. Just take a single step in regards to exercising, like do yoga 3 times a week, or just get out and go for a brisk walk every morning. Take your first step today and you won't be sad that you did.